To Thursday, September 12th, regular OPPD board meeting. First, I'm going to ask Tim Burke, President and CEO, to give the safety briefing.
Great, thank you very much. You're in the auditorium at Energy Plaza here at OPPD. There are several exits, and you came in one of them. If you came in through the to the front of the auditorium, you'll exit those, and we'll ask you to continue through the atrium area, take a right, and exit on the Harney Street side in the event of emergency, and we'll have an emergency response team member assist you during that evacuation and or sheltering. In the event of a fire, we would ask you not to use any elevators, and if for some reason we needed to migrate the steps to exit the building, we would ask you to use your three-point touch, which is one hand on the railing and 2 feet on the ground. If you have a medical condition, if you could write it down or tell your neighbor. And the fire extinguisher is near the conference room A, which is outside this rear door to my left, to your right, and just right around the corner. There's also one in the kitchenette as well. The AD and the first aid kit are on the brick wall to the right of the cafeteria entrance, one on top of each other. Is anybody here in this room certified in the use of an AED or in CPR?
well.
Thank you very much. Those that aren't, we would ask you to go to the OPPD Wire story and listen to Mr. Kevin McCormick and his wife talk about the value of having been certified or trained in the use of an AED or in CPR. And you'll get to learn a little bit about Kevin. So, and let's see here. In case of a severe weather or tornado, we would be escorted by emergency response team to a secure area, and the board and the employees would be escorted one area, and the public would be escorted in another area as well. And with that, that concludes my safety briefing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burke. Now let's run through a list of our guidelines for the conduct of the meeting. First and foremost, please silence your electronic devices. This regular board meeting will follow the agenda made available to the public upon entering the meeting. This meeting is streaming live on the internet at oppd.com. Our regular board meetings have public comment periods on the agenda. Following board discussion on each pending matter, I will ask for public comment before bringing the matter to a vote. Also, prior to adjournment of the meeting, you will have an opportunity to comment on any other OPPD matters. If you wish to speak, please approach the microphone to your far left and state your name and address, and state the name of any organization or person you are representing. Organizations should choose one representative to speak on their behalf so as to avoid repetitive commentary. Comments made by all parties during the meeting are a part of the official public record. Each individual will be allowed 3 minutes per matter pending at the discretion of the board. To assist you, we use a red, yellow, green light indicator to ensure each member of the public receives a consistent amount of time. Ms. Hinners will signal when 30 seconds remain, as well as when time is up. Please direct your comments to me, not to other board members or the executive team. I will either respond to you directly or defer response to another board member or officer of the district. If you brought written materials, Ms. Hinners will gladly receive them on your behalf. Ms. Hinners, will you please take roll call?
Bogner. Here. Kavanaugh.
Here.
Gay.
Here.
McGuire.
Here.
Mulhoff. Here. Moody.
Yep.
Williams.
Here.
And Yoder. Director Yoder notified us that he would not be able to attend this meeting.
Yes, he's attending a ribbon cutting in Iowa City, so he is sorry he's not able to attend.
Announcement regarding public notice of meeting. Notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in Outlet's newsletter, and on oppd.com, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza since September 6, 2019, and by emailing such notice to each of the district's directors on that same date. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the open meetings law is available for inspection in the public meeting book located in this meeting room. Board consent action items. The consent agenda items are as follows. Item 5, approval of the July 2019 Comprehensive Financial and Operating Report, August 2019 meeting minutes, and the September 12th, 2019 agenda. Item 6, SD7 Environmental Stewardship Monitoring Report, Resolution Number 6340, and item 7, SD10, Ethics Monitoring Report, Resolution Number 6341. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions to the consent agenda items, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items.
May I have a motion?
So
Second? Okay. I will mention one thing as far as the minutes. There was a change, and it was highlighted in red for everyone to see that. It was also posted on OPPD.com. And I'm certain there's other members who would like to say something. Mr.
Yep.
Williams.
Since Director Yoder is not here, I wanted to follow up on SD7. The committee took a look at that following the workshop that we had on that Thursday. And at this time, staff is looking at some of the details that have been requested for potential update in SD7. The monitoring report is a look backward at the performance of the previous year. And at this time, we are not approving any changes to SD7 today. That's not the purpose of this action. There will be a future update. And before we get there, the recommendations from staff will be brought back to the committee. They will be reviewed by the entire board. And then the final recommended version will be put out as per the standard policy for a 30-day public comment period prior to a vote for a change for SD7. So this is something we've been working on over the course of this year, is to separate the monitoring report from the potential updates of the policy moving forward, and that will be done here. So this monitoring report is just for the last year, and you will see information about the update in the future.
Well said. I also said, that 30 days is not set in stone.
I'm sorry,
If we get it-
approximately.
If we get.
I'm sorry, I'll get it right.
But if we get, no, you did a great job. But if we get more and more comments, that if those comments may be brought back to the committee, was the.
Yeah, I would just underscore that. It's
Yeah.
not clock starts ticking and
Yeah.
then we automatically approve the month following. We get feedback, we get comments, we can adjust, we can amend that schedule. So those comments, once it's made public and once we're seeking them, are extraordinarily important. And it's not as though any decision is locked in until we get that feedback.
That's right. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other comments on the board on any of these items? Are there any other comments as far as public?
David Corbin, Nebraska Sierra Club, 1002 North 49th Street. I almost feel compelled because everybody turned and looked at me the other day when you said somebody's bound to speak on this. But I am heartened by the questions and the comments that were made both in your retreat as well as in the committee meeting about the future of SD7, and I'm confident that you will look at those very seriously as more and more people. I just want to call to your attention that on September 20th, there are youth or student climate strikes throughout the country, over 500. 3 of them are in Nebraska. Just letting you know the extent to which young people are concerned about the future of energy. And then finally, I'll just add, now that you're taking pictures, I want any royalties for any of these that you might sell.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Thank you.
David, only for you would we give you royalties. If we get any, we'll make sure I might even match them. How's that sound?
My name is Eric Elness. My address is 1424 South 13th Street. And I'm commenting on the future of SD7. I'm the senior minister of Countryside Community Church on the Tri-Faith Commons at 132nd and Pacific Street. In the last 11 years that I've served this 1,300-member congregation, I've witnessed the congregation's views toward the environmental change and stewardship move from skepticism and indifference to alarm with a great urgency to act. In fact, our congregation now has a large group committed to environmental activism. Members have also created a major educational initiative called Earth University that regularly draws 60 to 80 members from the Omaha community to attend. And when we built our new church just recently, the congregation added a full $1 million to our basic fundraising goal in order to create a LEED Platinum or a comparable facility. We didn't quite make that goal, but we did add a $400,000 full geothermal package, pre-wired our roofs to receive solar panels, and made many other changes to that effect. My point is that Countryside Community Church is made up of people who reflect the concerns and interests of the wider Omaha population. Our experience opens a window onto the sea change that is happening within a great many faith communities here in Omaha. Concerns for environmental stewardship have gone from fringe issues to core moral and faith issues quite rapidly. More and more people are realizing that years from now, future generations will not care whether we were Republican or Democrat, gay or straight, pro-life or pro-choice. They will not care if we are Christian, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, or Buddhist. They will not even care how hard we try to make a difference. What they will care about is just one thing. They will care about what kind of world we have left them. Will they receive from us a world of greater opportunity or less? Will their world be more peaceful or more violent? Will our children and grandchildren and their descendants see us as people who have blessed them or cursed them? The choice is ours. I hope that the OPP board will make a net zero carbon goal a visible and outward expression of our pledge to making this world a better place, not only for ourselves, but for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well said. And kudos on the lead. Appreciate that.
Look, my name is Mark Welsh, and first, let me thank you for everything that you've done up to this point, getting solar power most recently underway in the district up at Fort Calhoun. I think that's going to be a big plus for you to get your hands sort of dirty with this clean energy. I think that's just a great thing to be moving forward with. You've got long history with wind power, which I also thank you for. But as I'm often do, you need to do more, and you need to do it faster. Catherine Hayhoe is one of my heroes. She's Dr. Catherine Hayhoe. She's right up there with Dr. James Hansen, which you may have heard more of. She's one of the top scientists on climate change. And recently she posted again about the question, how much are we changing the climate? And she said, well, if you look at all of the natural cycles, and there's 10 or 11 of them, if you look at all the natural cycles, all of them combined are trying to cool this planet down. There's only a couple that are trying to warm it, but all of them together are trying to cool our planet, yet our planet is warming. So she said, how much are we changing how much are we responsible? Over 100% is the answer. We are responsible for warming this planet more than 100% because the natural cycles are cooling it, trying to cool it. But the carbon dioxide, the methane, the other greenhouse gases up there are warming it, and will continue to warm it until who knows when, probably a few thousand years from now. And it's incumbent on OPPD, I believe, to take the right steps to continue to be leaders in this country. Like you were leaders on green energy here with solar, it's time to really roll up your sleeves and make a commitment when you discuss this SD7 in the future to get to zero as fast as is humanly possible, and look into the future with your crystal ball and say, we think things are going to happen that will allow us to do that, and trust that that will happen and make plans for it to happen.
30 seconds, Mr. Welsh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Welsh.
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street, Omaha. I won't repeat what the previous speakers have done. Specific to SD7, what the metric that really matters is how much carbon dioxide the utility is putting out into the atmosphere. The carbon efficiency is nice, but what's really essential is how much ends up in the atmosphere. The science is pretty solid at this point. It seems every week I see another scientific paper that's somewhere between unsettling and downright scary. The last one was what the sea levels were like the last time carbon dioxide levels were as high as globally we're headed. And the answer is 50 to 70 feet higher than they are now. That took a while to happen, but it's an accelerating process. And once it gets going, it's essentially unstoppable. That's enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Scott Shreve. I live at 312 South 16th Street. Over the years I've been in Omaha, I look at my monthly billing, I read the little attached information with it. It just always brings me joy when I see OPPD is doing something green, kind of leading in trying to help the environment. I've always appreciated my electricity is always on and it's very reliable. But it always just gives me a real sense of pride when I see OPPD doing something that's trying to be environmentally friendly, not only for the long term. And this looks like another possibility. And I just encourage you to be as innovative as you can be, because there's a lot of us customers who each month when we open up the little letter, we like to see everything that's happening, but that just brings some special joy because I think of my grandchildren who are now 3 years old, 7 months old, and say I want to have them have a better environment than we have, and your innovation can do just that. So thank you for your work.
Thank you. If there's no other comments, may I have a vote, Ms. Centers? Oh, we have one more comment. Okay, thank you, sorry.
Mark Loskatoff, 6323 North 115th Circle, Omaha. I just want to say there's been a lot of very disturbing news about the environment this year, and I'm worried. And so all of us who have the ability to do something about climate change have the responsibility to do something, and those who have more ability have more responsibility. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Maybe I should be a little slower talking. If there's no one else, may I please have a vote?
Bogner.
Yes.
Kavanaugh. Gay.
Yes.
McGuire.
Yes.
Mulhall.
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item 8, corporate officer compensation adjustment for Troy Vai, Vice President, Energy Delivery, resolution number 6342. Whereas the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District is required by law to establish the compensation of the district's corporate officers, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District that the compensation adjustment for Vice President Troy Vai, as set forth on the exhibit attached here to be and hereby is approved.
So moved.
Second. Second?
Madam
Dr.
Chair,
Kavanaugh?
Madam Chair, yes, this is Vice President Troy Vai's one-year anniversary as a Vice President, and upon review of his current salary and status, President Burke has recommended, and the Governance Committee concurs with a 4.5% pay raise, which will raise his salary to 96% of his midpoint. Troy's done an excellent job. We're fortunate to have him. Saying he's in charge of energy delivery is kind of an easy way of saying, I guess he's in charge of the substations, the transformers, wires, poles, keeping the power on in 13 counties. Does a great job. And obviously, when called upon, they help out down in the southeast here recently. And Troy's done a good job. When the weather gets tough, his people rise to the challenge. And that's certainly one of that's the backbone of our company. And
Right.
we're glad to have you. You're doing a good job, and we appreciate it.
Any other comments?
The always awkward talking about vice presidents. I would just echo, I think, Troy, you're doing a wonderful job. You've been a great addition to the team. One of the things that we discussed in our closed session about when we were talking about Troy is just how good the team is writ large. As good as it's ever been, and you're a key part of that. So thank you for your work, and this is well deserved.
Any other comments? I'll sum it up by saying you hit it out of the park this first year, and keep it going. It's been great. You've done a great job, and you've got great collaboration with everyone, with the directors, and with, from your employees, we've gotten that feedback, and from the entire team, and from Mr. Burke's excellent review. So we really appreciate your service, and continue on. Thank you very much. His salary, proposed salary is going to be $296,587,000, and this is only 96, he's below the midpoint, the 50% midpoint still at this time. So, are there any other comments? Okay, not? We have vote?
Bogner,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Amolhoff,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next, we have President Burke's report. President's report.
Well, thank you very much. We have a lot of things in this one this month. We'll try to move through it relatively briskly as possible. Our baseload generation, as you can see, in Nebraska City Unit 1, 2, North Omaha Units 4 and 5, the capacity factors over the course of the last month. Nebraska City 1 had no forced outages for the month of August, and Unit 2 had 2 forced outages, which speaks to the 58 to almost 59% capacity factor. Units 4 and 5 also operated relatively well. They essentially moved with the market a little bit. They did have some loss of generation due to some maintenance-related issues, and so they come out at the 65% and just about 59% as well. If you go to the next slide, Ms. Hinders, here's our peaking facility. All of our peaking units, Cass County, Jones Street, North Omaha, units 1, 2, and 3, who back in 2015 were converted from coal to natural gas. Again, those units back at that point in time were in the 60 to 70% capacity factor on coal, or maybe even a little bit higher during the peak seasons of the time. And now they're on natural gas and relatively low capacity factors. And that's typically what we see from our peaking generation on natural gas. Relatively low capacity factors. These units are operating really for resiliency and reliability purposes within the market, within the transmission needs of the market, and certainly within our service territory. And you can see the individual units and their percentages. Ms. Hinders, if you go to the next slide, here's kind of what's happening over a period of years. And you can see what that looks like from 2000, I believe that it starts at 2013. And goes all the way to 2019. I think this just speaks to what's going on in the market as we have seen an increase in variable energy. We're seeing the increased need to make sure that we have capacity, and so we would tend to see this continually increase as we continually diverse our base load portfolio to more variable resources. We're going to see that just to make sure that we maintain the resiliency of our transmission system.
Can you tell them what color the colors are?
Well, if I can read it in this small print here, but so North Omaha would show up as the gray color on the bottom. I'm going to go to 2019 and then work my way up on the chart. The blue would be our Cass County facilities. Our Cass County facilities, I'll just leave it at that. Mary won't want me to get too specific on that. And our Sarpy County facilities are in the orange. And then our red facility is Jones Street. And I think what's really interesting, if you compare where we are this year compared to last year, even with Jones Street, very rarely do we have that unit operated. We've had that operate multiple times this year, which speaks to kind of what's going on within the footprint within the region as well.
Can you explain why with the wind and everything going up and down?
That's part of the variable resources. Chairman McGuire asked me to explain that a little bit.
Yeah.
And because the nature of the variable resources within the region, within SPP, certainly within our region, and those assets are not necessarily within our footprint. One of our wind resources is in southeast part of Nebraska. Matter of fact, if you go over the Highway 75 into Sabetha, Kansas, you'll see our piece on the north side on the Nebraska, and then West Star Energy on the south side, and it's the same wind facility. Most of ours are in the northeast part of the state of Nebraska, where there's higher wind resources, and because of that, the criticality of transmission resources are important for us to maintain power flows into where the power is used. Renewable energy for the month of August contributed to 20% of our retail sales, and the wind capacity factor was at 27.3%. Year to date, the wind capacity factor was around 41.5%, and renewable energy contributed to about a little over 27% of OPPD's retail energy sales. And again, we will see later this year our Shoals Wind Project come online, which should move us into that almost 40% of our retail sales will come from wind and renewable resources to date. So this month, even though it started this month, there's been a lot of work leading up to some great work the OPPD team has done. Julie Comstock, Kate Brown, Lisa Olson, and a variety of other folks across the organization has really worked closely with our partner, our energy partner here in this region, Metropolitan Utilities District, in the newly renovated Energy Plaza Customer Service Office, and that opened on Tuesday, September 3rd, and we began to welcome customers from both MUD and OPPD right here in this facility as MUD begins to relocate their facilities on North 72nd Street. It's an opportunity for us to kind of co-locate customer service centers. What we found really interesting is that in this first week, about a third of our visitors came to see both companies at one location. So that doesn't require them to cross the street, doesn't require them to park in different locations. And so this has been just a great opportunity. I've had the opportunity to meet with the MUD staff. We had a little kickoff with the leadership of MUD along with the employees as well, and things are going really well there. And so it's just a great service opportunity for us. And so really a contribution of both the leadership and the employees of MUD and the leadership and the employees of OPPD to work together on the benefit of our customer owners. And I think that's pretty important.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Those numbers strike me. Are those just since the consolidation happened, or are those annual
That's
numbers?
the first week, which would have been just 4 days.
That's 4 days?
Yeah.
That's just 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, you would see typically in this early part of the month, this kind of high activity. You wouldn't necessarily see that today as you came in. There was probably a little less activity, but you would see that in different times of the
Sure.
month and what that may look like.
Okay,
Hey,
thank you.
Tim, could I just say one thing? And I know the employees put this together, both the MUD and OPPD, but I remember, you and Mark Doyle have worked together a long
Yes.
time. So I think the CEOs of both those organizations should get a little credit too.
Kudos.
So good job doing that, because I know you've been talking about this for years.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
is
to
really
try to
a
do something.
nice
collaboration.
end result. And I know there's other things we do, but this is
Yeah.
awesome. So good job.
We do have a good relationship and the teams work very, very closely together. So who knows, there may be other opportunities in the future, so.
Yep.
Next, I want to talk a little bit about one of our core values of honor our community. On August 7th, we had our 32nd annual Swigart Golf Tournament. Now, for those of you that say, how did you get the name Swigart in there? You have to go back, 32 years or more. So this is this was named in the memory of our late Warren R. Swigart, who diligently represented OPPD customers as member of the OPPD Board of Directors. He was active in many civic and community organizations and was recognized as a true volunteer and was an avid golfer. And so 32 years ago, we started this golf tournament. The proceeds of the golf tournament really goes to 3 scholarships that we provide in typically STEM or business or unique degrees that really support kind of what's going on in our region and our area. And the majority of the funds raised goes to our energy assistance program. So this year, I don't know if the auditor's count is done, but it's somewhere around $25,000 or $30,000. So if you take that minus minus the $6,000 in scholarships. The rest of that will go into our energy assistance program to assist customers that need assistance paying their bill. And we think that's pretty important for us to continue to do that. We had over 250 golfers in that event. And so it's been a great opportunity for us to fund some unique scholarships and energy assistance program. Next is caring about each other. And so OPPD, over the course of time, has tried to get our employees together, and we kind of rally around that opportunity to really provide the OPPD Award of Excellence to one of our employees that really exhibit some really unique skill sets and lives out our core values, does a lot of volunteer work in the community. So we had over 1,000 employees that attended our family picnic on August 11th. And this year, Don Blair, he's incognito in the middle with the trophy with sunglasses because it was kind of a hot and sunny day. It didn't start that way, but it ended that day. Accepted the OPPD Award of Excellence, and he is in our facility services group, and it's just a wonderful individual. Has done significant amount of work with the Boy Scouts and a lot of the projects, and him and his family are continually do a lot of work in the community. And Kate and some of the other management team from the facility services group was there to really recognize Don, who's just a great representative of OPPD. So it's great to talk about Don, and it's almost he immediately pushed it off and say, it's not what I do. I really want to thank my management team who allows me to do the things I do. And that's just the kind of person he is that he pushes that off pretty quickly. On September 2nd, a lot of preparation leading up to September Fest. OPPD had a number of different employees from our local labor unions as well as employees. Several board members participated in the walk as well. And it's just our opportunity to represent our employees who do some pretty significant work day in and day out, usually within our service territory. And I'll talk a little bit later about sometimes outside of our service territory as well. On Passion to Serve, OPPD really kind of reinstituted our desire to be part of the Nebraska Lineworker Rodeo program held in Grand Island during the state fair. And so line workers across the state competed in the rodeo. We had several teams, both in the journeyman side and the apprentice side. So we had on the journeyman side, we had Tony Liston, Pat Wagner, Scott Bellows, and Eric Roxburgh. On the apprentice side, we had Ted Gyra, Ben Keel, Cody Shano, Cody Thompson, and Mike Novotny. And we had one of our journeymen who was actually highlighted in our Lineman Wives video. His wife was identified in there, but Aaron Prohaska, who was one of the judges. This is a kind of a self-judging opportunity. And so I'm going to go to the next slide and talk about kind of our line workers kind of bringing home the gold, so to speak. We actually had a very good showing. We placed first in 3 events and took the top 3 spots in the guy wire installation competition. And so here you see Ted Gyra was first in speed climb. Cody Thompson was actually second on the guy wire installation. Ted Gyra was first. Mike Novotny second. Cody Thompson third. In the Hurtman Rescue, Ted Gyra was first. The Hurtman Rescue is that it's really a simulation of an individual that has been electrocuted at the top of a pole. And they simulate through body weight and a number of other different things, another line technician or a line worker in this case going up the pole to rescue that individual. It's really it's just an amazing thing to watch if you happen to go to the state fair. That's typically, I think, the first weekend of the state fair. And then on the double arm brace change out, Cody Thompson was first. And obviously they're pretty proud here in bringing home all this great work. So it's great to recognize them for what they do. And last, not last, but second to the last is, we had 15 employees that were called into action to be part of a mutual aid around the Hurricane Dorian in southeast Florida, or certainly southeast part of the United States. And so they left on Saturday, I believe August 30th, and returned on September 4th, I believe, or at least started there. They were released on September 4th and got home shortly after that. We actually did some work in Florida. As you well know, as you heard the news, several of that storm changed its path. So our folks changed where they went to help out. That's just the nature. These are all done by volunteer. They don't get voluntold, they get volunteered to help support mutual aid, and it's just a great opportunity to recognize the men and the women that support that kind of mutual aid. That's what's really cool about this industry. It's an incredibly honorable industry, and we have some great people working for us at OPPD and others across the United States. Last, for me anyway, before we get into the strategic initiative, is really our recognition of employees that have died in the line of duty and service. And so today, we're going to talk about Ken Kitchen. He died on December 27th. On 2000 after he was struck by a vehicle alongside West Dodge Road while trying to clear debris from under another car. So if this story is really interesting, is that he stopped to help another individual, not an OPPD worker, just a citizen who was having car trouble and was trying to clear debris under the car that they had that was creating an issue and was struck by another car. So it's in that line of passion to serve that we talk about Ken. So he was 53 years old at the time of his death. He had been with OPPD for 26 years. He was one of the individuals that really spearheaded the operation of our OPPD Power Drive program. And so just an amazing gentleman. He was survived by his wife Cindy and Josh and daughter Jennifer and his parents, a brother and two sisters. Cindy and Josh, each year when we celebrate really and recognize the 18 employees who have died in the line of duty, Cindy and this year Josh came to really represent their father in that work. So it's important for us to recognize them and recognize the work that our people do across our service territory. And with that, that concludes my president's report.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Do you want to kick off the strategic initiatives?
I will kick it off and turn it right over quickly to
quickly.
Kate Brown, because you've heard me talk enough. So this is the fifth piece of our strategic initiative work. We talked about our decarbonization pathway. We talked about our customer engagement and research initiative that will be on its way. We talked about this is the fourth piece, I believe. We talked about our transmission distribution kind of digitalization and resiliency and reliability initiative. And today we're going to talk about a broader kind of technology. And as we shared in one of the original slides, was what the utility of the future looks like is incredibly more integrated than maybe it is today, and what that looks like. And so we are in that preparation of what we need to do across this district to prepare for that energy future and what that may look like. So with that, I will introduce our Vice President and our Chief Information Officer, Kate Brown, to talk a little bit about her work and her team's work and the rest of the organization's work around this strategic initiative.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome, Kate.
So good afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to be here today to present to you our Technology Platform Strategic Initiative. I'm going to reflect for a few moments here because I'm very honored to be here to talk about this. I've been here approximately 3.5 years, and I want to talk a little bit about what Tim just mentioned about a cool organization. This is a cool organization. It's a wonderful organization. I've been incredibly supported by senior management, the board, and all the employees at OPPD to learn about the utility industry as well as OPPD itself. And also learning about technology that we have, technology that we can employ in the future. What does that look like? Where are we going? And I think the time for these strategic initiatives is wonderful because we are ready to understand how to employ this technology to help deliver on the different aspects that have been described to you in the past of the initiatives that you've heard about previously. So you heard from Barry Fisher, Julie Comstock, and Troy Vai about the trends that you see here and how they're shaping what we do and where we're going. From a technology perspective, there isn't any aspect of these trends that aren't touched by technology. Technology is in everything we do. It is touching everything we want to do. There isn't much that most of us do where technology isn't in play, from smart technology, devices, Internet of Things, everyone's touching technology. Troy talked about this last month in terms of how to look at the grid and modernizing it, leveraging technology where we can place devices that can learn and understand about what's going on. It can educate us on what's happening in those environments. Julie talked a little bit, no, she didn't talk a little bit, she talked a lot about the customer engagement and experience and what that looks like and what it could look like as we leverage this technology. And Mary Fisher talked about decarbonization pathways. What could that look like in the future, and what will those changes result in for technology that we have today that we will need to deploy in the future? This is talking about how we need to modernize our technology platform to deliver and develop a secure and scalable unified digital ecosystem to keep pace with what is going on with these trends and deliver solutions that keep pace with other organizations that deliver technology effectively and interact with our customers every day. Think about the Amazons, the Apples, the Cox, Tesla, SafeLight. We're all interacting with them. And how they're interacting with our customers impacts how we need to interact with our customers. These organizations have mastered how to interact with customers, leveraging growing capabilities of technology and doing it in a way that is compelling, easy to use, secure, customized, and sustainable. All the things we aspire to be in the technology we're employing. Our customers interact with these variety of service providers, and they're outpacing us in their technological capabilities and how they deliver actionable information to those customers so they can make choices about the services that they're interacting with. Our customers are comparing us to that. We need to leverage that and understand how to pull this forward from a technology platform initiative. To that end, I talk about technology has become the air we breathe. It is in everything, as I mentioned. We don't do anything without employing technology. It used to be said that cash is king. I propose that communications are king. And when I say that, I mean, if you have a device or an application that doesn't connect and can't communicate with something, it brings very little value to you. So those communications are the crux of what this technology can do. Last month, Troy showed a diagram here around our communications capabilities today and where they're going in the future. It's a very connected, interconnected future world that we're looking at. Without communications, we can't transport data, we can't connect applications, we can't control systems, we can't serve up most products and services that our customers desire. We need to do this, though, in a thoughtful manner. If not managed and implemented with the appropriate standards, processes, security, and support, we could introduce risk that is not what we are trying to do. So with that, let's talk about the technology platform. As I mentioned, this involves building a digital ecosystem that will allow us to extend technology to our customers and employees in a way that we cannot do today. At Tuesday's committee meeting, we touched on some of this in terms of where our technology has become a roadblock versus an enabler for us. The technology platform creates a sustainable and secure foundation upon which functionality can be added or enhanced. The digital utility is typically looked at from the following realms, because that's really what we're talking about. How do we digitize the utility? It's looked at from customers, operations, and assets. It's typically how you look at it. From a customer perspective, how do we create a frictionless customer experience, not fictionless, where less direct human interaction is needed and products and services are delivered that provide choice and deliver value way beyond the electricity that they are consuming. From an operations, think about a factory in the field capability where the employee is out in the field and has all the tools and information they need. They can reach out and get expertise as easily as possible. It is a digitization of the work that they're doing and their ability to communicate. Assets where they become a network of individual devices that communicate back and tell you about themselves and learn about themselves. They can tell you, for instance, a car that we use or a truck that needs maintenance. It's signaling to us to let us know what it needs, and we're taking action based on that versus waiting for something to happen and then responding and reacting to it. There are many elements that can be addressed when looking at building a digital utility. We need to focus, though, because that is a huge undertaking. Senior management has identified those areas that we want to focus on and build for the future. There are three areas that cut across all of this: asset management, business intelligence, and mobility. We are managing work in two paths. As you see in the diagram here, there's an orange orb, the technology platform sitting at the bottom. That orb is what we are building. We've been building that in my business unit. This is the basis for where these other components will come in, the asset management, mobility, and business intelligence. We need to build this platform so that these areas can leverage that and be able to enhance what we're doing. We have components of mobility today. We have some asset management. We have some business intelligence. But how do we unify how we're doing this and use more modern technology to deliver on it? So we are taking this down these two paths. Mobility will facilitate flexibility in the way our employees and systems interact, as well as create customizable flexibility in the way our customers wish to interact with us. Think about our customers that want to choose their mode of interaction. They want to chat, they want to text, they want to email, they want to switch midstream because they are mobile themselves and they want us to be mobile with them. Think about our employees in the field that need to receive or send information back to our customers or to our other employees. How do they do this? What devices will they use? They could have real-time maps, outage information, real expertise available to them whenever they need it. Making it easier for them to provide solutions via smartphones, tablets, whatever that technology is, and looking even further, leveraging automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, some point in the future, all of this will come to be. We need to have the platform that's leverageable for all of that. Let's look at business intelligence. This allows us to better understand and be better stewards of our resources for the community. We can use that data to empower us to make more thoughtful decisions and predict some outcomes. We can use predictive analytics if we gather the information correctly that could help us in regards to safety, system conditions, weathers. We can bring all this information together to be able to make decisions more effectively. As we look at decarbonization, we need to build models. We need to manage large amounts of data. We need to be able to do that efficiently, effectively, and quickly so we can understand that information quickly and make decisions. We are embarking on what we're calling Project Zeitgeist around business intelligence. This is a journey that we will take to bring together large information. Think of big data. What does that look like? How will we align this information with external data? How will we make it easier to gather the information versus spending time gathering and cleaning data? Let's use the information. So that's all part of what we're doing. Last month, Troy reflected on asset management. We have identified this as a critical component of the work that we need to do to support what we can do from a holistic perspective around our assets, enabling data-driven financial and asset decision-making. This is a cross-connect into the business intelligence that I just talked about because the information that we will gather will help inform how we manage our assets. So let's talk about what we know. We know that in order for our employees in this business to stay relevant, we need technology that is current and relevant. We need to develop a technology platform that will support future growth and enhancements as we strive toward becoming an end-to-end digital utility. The technology we have today will be upgraded and/or replaced. We've chosen these three areas of focus: business intelligence, mobility, and asset management. There are many more components that we need to consider at some point. These three areas will enable us to communicate with our employees and customer owners in a different way, to transmit information to them differently, and have them transmit it back to us. The world's becoming more dangerous. People are trying to infiltrate what we are doing in our environments. They want to leverage what we're doing. They want to hack into it. They want to abscond with information. It's not just us. This is across the board. We need to understand that and build these systems so that they are protected, and we will do that. We know that the pace of change is quickening and that to meet the rate of change, we must have enterprise, unified approach to technology. Whatever solutions that we have, they must be scalable, sustainable, securable, and maintainable. The other initiatives all require technology. These are all interwoven. We've talked about this in the past discussions, and it is very true. We'll have to continue to work collaboratively across the organization to implement and design and leverage this technology. We know we must have unified standards, processes, and procedures that support us today and in the future, that are flexible and adaptable. I want to talk about skill sets for just a moment. So I'm going to make this statement, and because I come from the building services side as well, you might understand why I frame it up this way. In our business unit, we like to talk about that just because you can flush a toilet doesn't mean I want you to put the plumbing in my house for the toilet. So, and I bring that up because even though you can send an email or you can install an application on a phone, does not mean that we want you to build a server, configure a network, or write a program. Those take years of experience and knowledge building, and we are focused on building those capabilities in our employees. We are investing in that. This all takes time and effort from many people to make this all come together. Next month, you'll be hearing from Mark Setke around this topic. So what do we not know? We don't know exactly what this is going to cost. These are big undertakings. We will understand that cost as we further define what we're doing. We're not sure of the resource needs yet or the level of effort it will require. We don't know exactly which technology needs will come from the other initiatives. Those will all get defined as well. We don't know what other opportunities will appear as we evolve our technology. Once a sustainable platform is built, we don't know what the offshoots and enhancements will be after that. Other things will come, things will change. We know that. We don't know what they will be. Although as this becomes known, we will be able to lay a course for how to proceed, leveraging what we have built to carry us into the future. As we move forward with this initiative, other opportunities will arise, and we will meet those. There are many unknowns in this, but I do want to reflect for a moment on Scott Focht and his team and the strategic planning that they are helping us with. As these initiatives move forward, there's a very thoughtful approach to how they all interconnect and putting together a process that will ensure that we stay connected through these initiatives so that we can define what is needed, when it's needed, and how much those costs will be. We don't know what we don't know, although we're going to find out together. So what does this mean for the future? So I mentioned employee skill sets. Employee capability will require development and technology skill modernizations. Employees will be able to focus on value-creating work, so they're not focusing on the tools that they're using that may be more manual or not providing the right set of tools. This is critical. It relates to employee engagement and retention. Current independent technologies will become unified by shared standards, procedures, and processes, and the interconnectedness that is needed to create the environment that we envision. We'll approach our work in a unified manner. Customers will digitally seamlessly interact with OPPD systems, mirroring more of how they interact with other service providers. Better, more predictive analytics in the field means a safer work environment for employees and more thoughtful and informed decision-making across the enterprise. Once we have the information in a manner that allows for analytical work, we can build from this and spend our time analyzing and making better decisions versus spending time procuring and cleansing the data. Our more agile organization will more effectively meet the changing needs of our business, customers, and community. Agility of systems also translates to agility of our workforce. This is a critical component for us and will create many changes across our organization. With this, I complete my overview of the Information Technology Platform Strategic Initiative. Questions, comments?
Thank you very much, Kate. I really, really appreciate it. Do you have any comments from the board? Right?
Sure, I'll go first. Couple questions, Kate. I hesitate to ask this question because I think the answer is all of the above, but I'm kind of wondering, our job is strategic directives to set the vision, and then these strategic initiatives are sort of the way in which you achieve those. Are there certain strategic directives that you would kind of hold up as keys to driving this particular initiative?
So I would say the information protection
Sure.
and security, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there are many here that fall into that space because of how they interconnect into the initiatives that interconnect to those strategic
Sure.
directives. So environmental stewardship, race, I mean, all those to me
Customer service.
interconnect and tie.
Yeah.
Because they will all affect those, the strategic directives help align where these initiatives are going.
Yeah, which
So
certainly-
there would be many.
Yeah, which makes it certainly more difficult and complicated, I suppose, as well. This is extraordinarily important. I just want to underscore, in my view, how important it is that we really continue to build our capabilities from a technology standpoint. I think there's a huge upside for us. And I only bring that up because I want to ensure, we set the budget. We approve the budget every year, and I want to make sure that we're continuing to dedicate the right resources to making sure that this is something that has the backing, the resources, the financial resources that we need to continue to move it forward. Really important. I completely understand how it interfaces with everything that we do, and I think our customers, as you pointed out, there are plenty of examples out there in the world today where the technology is just so good, and I think we've got some potential, an opportunity to get there.
Yes. Director Gay, you had a comment?
I just piggyback on what Director Moody is saying too. That was where I was going. That you get so many options and good opportunities. And it's going to be up to the board and senior management to work together and say what's the best bang for a buck. Because one of the things you said, what we don't know is the cost and all those things. Of course, that's always a big deal. But as far as prioritizing and all that, and you take the strategic directives we'd like to go to and reach, and I guess I'm just making a statement more than a question for everybody in the public. These are the kind of things we got to just say, which is the most important thing that's going to get the most bang for the buck, like Director Brady says, that we can afford too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, and I know you're getting that base set up. I get that, and a lot of opportunities in the future, but it'll be interesting how we all decide what's priority and what's not, so.
Yeah,
it'll be
it's
fun.
sort of like being in the cookie jar, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like, what-
How many cookies do you want?
Technology
and
in
what kind?
general,
Yeah.
right.
And each cookie has a different cost.
Each cookie has a different cost. That's right.
But we're glad you're leading it too, because you do a great job and have complete confidence in that.
Any
I
other
just-
comments from directors?
I just wanted to say, Kate, I know that you've brought some very talented folks on board to the organization, and that they're going to be the plumbers behind the flushing toilet, so to speak. And I just have every confidence that you will have the expertise behind you that helped you to achieve all of this. It's huge.
Janice, thank you for mentioning that, because some of those folks are in this room. I appreciate you calling that out.
Thank you.
They're really, really good plumbers.
They're top of the line.
This is, and by the way, Kate, they're not going to thank you for this. They're not going to be happy because now we got a nickname for them. This is not good.
They're all smiling though.
And you barely want me to install an app on my phone, let alone do anything with technology. So thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, I think this is a great follow-up to kind of what we talked about on Tuesday, the update about the DSM, the work we've had in the past on peak management, and as we look toward efficiency in the future, and then considering new technologies like distributed generation and electric vehicles, and how all of that needs to be interconnected to be most beneficial to all of the customer owners and to the district in general. This will be challenging. I think we all know that, and I think all of the presentations have highlighted that there are things we know, things we don't know, and we're working on finding a path to get there over the next 18 to 24 months. But as Mark pointed out earlier, that we need to trust that the technology will be there, both the assets and the business technology, to get us where we want to go. And I think this is a great focus on recognizing that we are moving in the direction of having the technology that we do need. I don't think I can pass on pointing out that on September 12th, in 1962, 57 years ago today, John F. Kennedy gave the Man on the Moon speech at Rice University. Go Owls. And alumni love that fact. Almost no one else knows it. But he did say in part that we choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize the best of our energies and skills, because that challenge is the one we are willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And that quote is very meaningful to me personally. I think today is a good time to remember it. He followed up by pointing out, why does Rice play Texas? And that's not quite as favorable to the university, but I would say that the following month, Rice and Texas did tie. Doesn't always go that well, but it did that time. And so I think this is a great presentation. I think this works well with the other pieces. I'm excited to see the last piece next month, and then to continue to receive updates over the next 18 to 24 months about where we're going. And finally, if the Lizzo wasn't enough for you last month, to anyone who has already seen Hamilton, I am past patiently waiting. And it sounds like from the comments that we've heard from the audience today and that we've received online, that I think there are others as well. And I think we're demonstrating that we have the people and the technology and the skills necessary to take us to the future. So this is another excellent presentation. Thank you, Kate, and thank you to everyone who's helping to make this a reality for everyone here at OPPD.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Is it my turn for my shot?
Do not throw away your shot, Amanda.
I don't know how I can follow a Kennedy quote and a Hamilton quote, but you have my full support in this effort. You and I have talked a lot about technology needs here and how that will enable when this comes to fruition, how that will be such a different utility, a different user experience. We'll be able to achieve the very lofty goals that we all aspire to, and I'm excited to see this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to put this in perspective. 5 years ago, when we developed these strategic directors, and at the same time, we sort of hired Mr. Tim Burke as the CEO, we did not have a business technology VP. We had nobody in that position. And Tim came to me at that time and says, we really need this. We cannot go forward, and he had the foresight of saying, we're going to have to make this a VP position. And thank you very much, Tim, because we really needed it. So I thank you very much for your leadership in this, and that's why we hired you.
So don't screw it up, Kate.
A lot of pressure on
It's a short
No pressure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And she did get the orb comment in, which I now owe her money now, so, yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
That concludes the regular portion of our meeting. If there are any other comments from the public, we welcome them.
Francis Mendenhall, 3715 Hamilton. That was really interesting about technology interfacing with everything, really. But what I want to do is report as your energy partner, and I would modify that. I'm your low budget energy partner. We bought a used Chevy Volt, and it's working brilliantly. Now, my intention, my husband's intention, and I was always to cooperate with the larger goals of OPPD in, demand side management and data gathering. So it seemed like a good idea when we bought the car to get a charge point charger. Since then, we've addressed every need that you would want from having that installed, and we're charging the car and avoiding peak times because the car has a programmable feature that you can punch in when you want it to complete its charging. So I'm telling you that because that's good news. Low budget people can get electric cars. We don't even have a garage, and we think we're going to do fine without a garage over the winter, and it works fine in the rain, and our electrician says it's not dangerous, and so does Eric, in the rain. But the missing thing that I would invite, Kate, maybe you can brainstorm on this, is I would like real-time knowledge about when the best time for OPPD is to charge that car, because all we really know now is don't do it during peak hours, which are like from 4 to 8. in the summer. Is that accurate?
That's pretty close, you bet.
It's very close.
Okay, so we want to shave the peaks and fill the troughs, and there's probably a way to do this. And we may decide to get a charge point. I haven't ruled it out. We haven't ruled it out, but that's what we got. Okay.
Thank you very much. Well, after that pilot, hopefully we can get you some more information after the pilot's finished. Thank you very much.
John Pollock again. I'll just do weather this time, aside from noting that Francis is my neighbor, and we're driving volts now. The weather situation, we've got the last week of summer coming up, and it's going to act like summer around here. It's still going to be fairly warm. Then we have a big transition coming in about a week to 10 days. There's going to be a strong weather system that's going to hit the West Coast first and then get to the middle of the country. That's going to bring us a lot cooler weather about in time with the autumn equinox. The interesting thing is that from that point onward, 1 week onward, the weather models diverge at the present. There's one group of weather models that kind of keeps that low pressure system over southern Canada and keeps pulling cool air into the middle of the country. And if that scenario plays out, we're going to be saying, wow, I guess it's fall now, time to get the furnace checked. No doubt about it. And the other scenario is that the thing keeps on moving toward the East Coast. The other part, and we eventually warm up again, and we get another pleasant spell of late September weather. The other way this ties into OPPD is that you were talking about sending the crew for Dorian. This is the active season for tropical weather systems in the Atlantic, and we have several potential systems brewing up. The weather models keep, sometimes they grab onto one and blow it up into a hurricane approaching the East Coast, and the next model will come along and it doesn't. But if that trough continues to the east of us, it'll set up a cold front, and it's going to steer most of the tropical activity away from the east coast of the U.S. If we're getting chilly weather in the central part of the country and it keeps dumping, the flip side of that is that there's high pressure. Yep. High pressure, warm weather on the East Coast, and there'll be an increased danger of having one of those tropical systems make landfall. Don't know how it's going to turn out. It'll be interesting to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ellen Vivoka, 3719 Hamilton. I thought the presentation on technology was very interesting and the initiative there. I was glad to hear that customers will be included, that we can get more information. The chart that comes out monthly with my bill is nice, but there are a lot of unknowns related to exactly how I managed to achieve that level of consumption. The other thing that occurred to me during the presentation was related to the mobile apps that will be available in the field to people that are working for OPPD, in combination with the earlier presentation on combining OPPD and MUD efforts for customer service. I'm guessing that if you guys do a great job on that mobile app that helps people immediately identify map locations of things like lines, that would be a great one to share with MUD, because they had a heck of a time finding their gas lines and shutoffs down in the old market a few years ago when there was a serious incident caused by somebody who wasn't MUD, but often, as you're well aware, somebody else can cause incidents for OPPD also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and a final thing. This new security system. I suppose that's related to technology. OPPD has finally succeeded in making me feel like my privacy was invaded. So, just thought you'd want to know.
Okay. Can we turn those in?
Hi, I'm Laverne Trahan, 4907 Chicago Street. I woke up this morning and my partner was reading this article and she started saying, it's too late, you know, we're not gonna ever make the change. It's not gonna happen. Nothing we can do. I looked at the calendar and realized there was an OPPD board meeting. I knew what to do. Come straight down here and tell you about this and hopefully I can make you feel the same. The level of carbon now in the atmosphere hasn't been seen in 12 million years. And this pollution is rapidly pushing the climate back to its state in the Eson epoch more than 33 million years ago, where there was no ice on either pole. Recovery is all but impossible without a World War II style transformation of industry, an acceleration of the effort to halt carbon pollution, remove it from the atmosphere, and a new effort to reflect sunlight away from the Earth's poles. This has to be done within the next 5 years. The chance that there will be any permanent ice left in the Arctic after 2022 is essentially zero, with 75 to 80% of the carbon ice having melted already in the last 35 years. That's Harvard professor James Anderson. So I've been here for 35 years and Frances Mendenhall has been here for 35 years. When I asked her about it just a minute ago, she said, well, not consistently. Yeah, who's been in here for, a year consistently? So for 35 years, me and her have been asking you to be renewable, 100%. I ran in '94 on a 100% renewable energy platform. In those 35 years, your legacy is melting down the ice caps. As you dither, as you told me I was a hippie or told her she was crazy, this utility, it's all on record, we have it. For 35 years, you've been basically ignoring what we've been asking you to do. And then I read in the paper, you're so surprised at the amount of people who came and signed up for your solar program. That was the big surprise. How could it be a surprise? For 35 years we've been in here telling you the same old thing. How could it be a surprise? You outsold it. Your research before then outsold it. Board members at that time said, well, how many people were in that research? Well, there was 1,000 or so. Well, that's not many people, a board member said. The resistance here, the stubborn resistance at this environment has got to be broken. Quit resisting and move quickly, fast. You can do it financially. There's bond mechanisms. There's coming to us. Giving us a number. It's $100 billion to change the whole thing to 100% renewable energy. That's what it costs. Maybe we'll pay for it as consumers. Maybe you can issue bonds. Maybe you can manipulate some of your numbers. Like you save money closing the nuke plant, maybe you'll save money closing the coal plant.
Time, sir.
And the coal dump.
Thank you, Laverne.
Thank you very much and have a good day.
Okay, well, I hope everyone who's able to go to Hamilton will enjoy it.
Take your pick.
And hope you get the shot. Okay, thanks so much for attending.
I think we're going last night.
Whose birthday is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday.
Birthday.
Yeah, they will.